To start with, we want to have some erasers, pencil, and a brush. The white eraser is good, you know, we've used that before, but this has graphite all over it, so it actually works as a smoother. The kneaded eraser, you can just stretch it until you get to a clean part. This other yellow eraser has some nice hard edges. You could use something, maybe the edge of a pencil eraser for that. The brush will clean off all of the extra erasures that you've made without having to smooth it with your hand. And then my 2B pencil. So to get started, we're going to draw just the two lines at the edges of the nose. Remember, we're just drawing a front forward nose as if you were looking in the mirror at yourself. So we draw those two lines, and then down at the bottom kind of make this curve. On the two sides, the opposite curve, maybe up a little bit higher, because the tip of the nose should hang lower than those. Sort of square that off. Make an oval that you think, if it's a wider nose, you can make that more of an oval. If it's a rounder nose, it would be more of a circle. Sort of blot in where you think that the dark areas, the holes of your nostrils might be. Everything should be kind of evenly lined up. Mine isn't here, but I think I fix it as we go on. You want it lined up so that they're on the same parallel line, same horizontal line. So when you're drawing like this to begin with, you're not going to see much happening yet. It's going to look like, what the heck am I making here? But go with that. Don't get discouraged by that. You're going to just come in, erase some of these extra lines that might not be necessary anymore. They're kind of confusing the issue. Okay, getting rid of the top of that oval will help. And the other thing too is a nose all by itself is a little hard to draw, so you might want to start thinking about bringing in the mouth a little bit. One thing is that under the nose is always going to be shadow. That ball of the nose is going to be shadowed underneath, so that's going to help create some of the three-dimensional form. Make sure things are lined up. I just keep working on that oval that's down there to try and get a really nice shape that looks natural to me. All right. Then you can start thinking about the mouth. Remember, the mouth is probably going to be, I don't know, the height of the ball of the nose, below the nose that much of the mouth, maybe a little bit higher. Just keep working these lines till you feel happy with them. Putting a little shading underneath the ball of the nose. That will definitely make it start to come forward. There'll be shadows where the nose is covering up part of the light that's hitting the lips, right above the lips. So now I'm going to start working a little bit on the mouth. I want to make sure everything is centered. So I'm just drawing this very light line through the nose till I get down to the mouth. I'm not being really, really accurate here. But let's see what happens. So now we come down here. Oh, see now this erasing with that side of that eraser, it actually works as a blender because it's kind of pushing the soft graphite all over the place, which I kind of like. Oh, I forgot to mention your blender. You can use your blender too. So, just making that a little dark under there, reworking the nostrils that come around, the padding. All right, so now we're going to start a little bit with the mouth. Remember that the center part of the mouth is almost a heart-shaped muscle, or not muscle, but a piece of whatever. And then there are those two that are on either side of it. They're like little ovals. And then on the bottom, that's kind of made up of two ovals too. So if you get those in place and do those lightly, because those aren't going to stay, but then you can start working on the outline. You're going to look to see whether the mouth goes down naturally. Some people's mouths go up. But where that little heart shape was, you will see a little bit of indentation there. Same with between the two kind of fatty things that are the bottom lip. Once you erase these things, now it'll start looking a little bit less like the front of a car and more like a pair of lips. Okay, so they're not there yet, but now the nose is starting to make a little bit more sense because there's a mouth underneath it. So you can smooth these. You want to look at the person's mouth that you're drawing and see if one lip goes over the other or if the bottom lip might even come up a little bit more. And then again, make sure that you're getting these pretty straight. See, as soon as I added those little lines there, how it took on more of a form. And then you want to play with the darkness between the lips. The mouth is always going to go into darkness there, and the upper lip is always going to be darker than the lighter lip if light is coming from above a little bit. Okay, so see, I'm just smoothing it out, playing with a little. Now I'm adding a shadow that comes right underneath your lip. If you look in the mirror, you'll see there's that shadow because your lip comes forward and creates this kind of dark area under a dark shadow where the light can't hit as deeply. One thing also is that your darkest dark, here, right, I'll tell you that in a minute. Let's look back up here. So the area above the nose, where the top of the nose is, between the eyebrows, is this kind of trapezoid shape. So if you draw that in and you try and get that pretty accurate, you will be able to get the eyebrows in the right position. Then you want to make sure that you choose the width of one eye and then match that by using your pencil. Here I got a little confused, so I've got to do it from the other side because then I can bring it in, match it up, and just push down on the tip of the pencil and I get that. Making sure that these guys are lined up too. And remember that the eye is not just an almond, it's made up of the top three lines and then on the bottom 2 lines. And then once you get that in, then you can start altering it to what you want. You can make it bigger, smaller, whatever. Bring in the irises a little bit. See where you are. Kind of get a feeling, are the eyes, the size of the eyes correct in relation to the nose and the mouth? Are they too close together? This is a good time to decide whether you need to change that before you do too much work on it. Come in and you can start darkening the line underneath. Get the pupil in there. Remember, the pupils have to be in the same position to make it look like the eyes are both looking at you from the same direction. Start eyebrows. Just a thing loose to begin with. Right now we're doing sketching this. This is not going to be the final drawing yet. This is just part 1 of the first sketch. Okay, now I'll start bringing in some shading to give depth because remember the nose sticks out much farther than the eyes, so you want to get some depth in there so that will bring the nose forward. Well, that's why I like to put my pencil on the edge like that so I can actually get some wider strokes in there. Now, no matter what color the skin is, it's never going to be pure white. The only place it's going to be pure white in a drawing like this is going to be those little highlights where there's a really big reflection happening. All right? We'll start coming in and playing and see how far down the chin would be. How square is this chin of this person? I like to just put in a couple lines to indicate the neck, just so I kind of have an idea what's going on. Now, how skinny is this person's head? How wide? Maybe now this is a very square looking jaw.